Hello everybody, my name is Silvanon and welcome to Bedtime Stories. Torment, Tides of Numenera. The game has come out today. It's a CRPG, it's a very story-heavy game, and I decided to play this. It's a CRPG. I'm pretty bad with CRPGs, but I'll tell you that in a second. CRPG as in Wasteland, Wasteland 2, Baldur's Gate, Pool of Radiance, Pillars of Eternity, and Planescape Torment, which is, up to today at least, been known as possibly the best story ever written for a game. That being said, lots of people have asked for a successor for Torment, for Planescape Torment, and they got this. They got a big Kickstarter campaign 3 years ago, and there were tons of backers. I mean, this was one of the most backed campaigns ever. I must admit, I haven't backed it. I wasn't sure whether or not I want to play this or not. I do now. I really want to play this. Actually, I own the rulebook to Torment. The rulebook to Numenera, because that is based, the whole game is based on a role-playing rulebook. So the whole rules in which the game, in the context and the world that this game is taking place, is based upon a role-playing book by Monte Cook. It's called Numenera, and has, for me, a big freedom in role-playing games and storytelling. But I can tell you that along the game a little more. Maybe I take the book and we'll take a look at the different sections, the different cities and such. So I offer you that I can read out a couple passages depending on where we are, depending on the environment or cities or whatnot. Maybe some characters shown here will be in the book as well. We'll see. I very much like the rulebook of Numenera. It's fairly streamlined, fairly easy, and puts a lot of focus in the storytelling. And this is what I want to give you now. That's why I call it Bedtime Stories, basically. I want to bring out short episodes, like 25, 30 minutes episodes. So without further ado, this is Tides of Numenera Part 1. And, oh yeah, there's one more thing that I wanted to say. I'm pretty bad with CRPGs. Actually, I have Wasteland 2 somewhere on my channel. If you want to see me playing more CRPGs, please watch the content. Watch the videos, give me a like, give me a comment, give me anything, any sign of interest, and I will be compelled, I will be forced, in my mind, to do it for you. And this is what actually drives me. Doing it for you and not for myself. For some weird reason, I rather do my homework for someone else because he relies on me, rather than doing the homework for myself. I have no idea why this is. It's just the way it works. So let's take a look at the options menu, because a lot of you dig that, and if not, you can skip ahead. I will put here, just check it here. There is a trailer to Tides of Numenera. Well, the story trailer is if you already want to know where this is going to. So we're gonna play in English. We're gonna play keyboard and mouse. We wanna have tutorials because we don't know how the game works. Skip intro movies. Nope. Hide movement bugs. No. Hide. We want nothing to hide. Interface wise, text size, medium is fine. It's better for the eyes. Tooltip delay. Yeah, 0.2 seconds seems nice. Camera mode, hybrid. Yeah, hybrid is cool. Free combat camera, hide interactable in combat. We may make sure that there's not a lot of controls, not a lot of hotkeys actually. Actually, that is very surprising. So abilities, items, toggle ability, toggle item row. So you have to do it with mouse and keyboard. You can pause with P. This is kind of weird. And turn space. So this will be round-based combat. That's interesting. I like round-based. If it's a hybrid between round-based and f- um, what's it called? Real time. Thank you. If it's a hybrid, out of that, I usually suck. Okay, this has been already going on for 5 minutes, so we're just gonna start. This is Tides of Numenera. Part 1. Oh, we're gonna be male. I don't like playing females. Not because I don't like females or not like playing females. I'd rather go male because I can relate to it more. I don't know why I feel wrong playing female. Lots of people just say I play female all the time.
Wakes in darkness. Aching cold sets into an unfamiliar body. A distant howling surrounds you, louder with each passing second. Insistent and invisible hands slap and tear at the membrane that protects you.
I'm gonna shut up through this.
Your first emotion is an involuntary and formless panic. You feel you have forgotten something important. As if it once meant the world to you, but the details slip away as you grasp at them. You force your eyes open. A white-pink fleshy cocoon surrounds you. Even as you look, a minor rent in its side tears open, and the howling wind forces its way inside. The cocoon rips away, gone before you can grab it, spinning you into a dizzying tumble. You are falling, the world many kilometers beneath you. You catch a glimpse of a curved horizon, and also the ground beneath you that is approaching deceptively quickly. Above you, a small moon is slowly collapsing in upon itself. A corona of acid green and black energy playing around its edges. The wind buffets you and burns your eyes, but you don't need to see the details of the faraway ground to know you're in serious trouble. You won't survive a fall from this stratospheric height. A part of your frantic mind battles that technically you probably fell from a thermospheric height. You struggle to stay focused as the ground rushes toward you. Instinctively, you spread your arms and legs, and they respond sluggishly. You stop tumbling head over heels. Though you are still spinning laterally, that motion has calmed as well, and you have space to assess your situation, and perhaps to understand the predicament and the body in which you find yourself. Below you, you see a large landmass. A massive ocean dominates the rest of the visible globe, dotted here and there with island chains. Small moons, unusual structures, and strange machines rush past you in glittering profusion as you plummet toward the ground. Now you see that this appears to be a huge megacontinent, the only land of any size, on this side of the world at least. Great inland seas and lakes dot the land, and curiously, regular mountain ranges march up and down and across. You are falling toward what looks to be a great bay, a sprawling city perched on its shore just to the north. Further to the north and east, you see a broad plain scattered with curious structures, visible even from this height. The northeastern portion of this land looks to be a desert, a strange blue dot like an eye in its exact center. It seems to hold a city in its watery grasp. To its west is a ring of huge mountains, surmounted by enormous carved peaks spewing magma into a central catch basin. What concerns you most right now is the bay below you. It's coming at you quickly. It's fruitless. You've reached a velocity that could, without irony, best be named terminal. You spread your arms and legs and try to catch a draft, and it looks like you'll hit the bay that's rushing toward you, unless you hit the building in its littered waters. A strange web of colors surrounds you, thrown by a figure standing on the balcony of the structure. But it is effective only at slowing your fall. You strike the building hard enough to crack its crystalline structure, and you hear one of the engines that supports it protest and howl, and the agony of the crash overcomes you. And then, darkness.
Ooh, I hope this was loud enough for you guys. I will check if we can turn up the volume of the voiceovers. Oh yeah. We can do that, maybe. That should be better. Because otherwise I'll be too loud in comparison. Metal waves roll over the floor below, sending vibrations through the soles of your boots. Last cast off. Excuse me. Jumbled thoughts cloud your head as you study the empty bowl before you. Drops of liquid fall from the ceiling, spattering on the ground next to the bowl. The light from every drop is reflected in the bowl's rounded hollow, as if it hungers for that light, and needs to be filled, yet the bowl remains dry. Another drop falls from the ceiling and splashes across the pylons, wasted. I try to carefully move the bowl beneath the liquid. Effort. You've encountered your first task. You have 3 stat pools: might, speed, and intellect. Which is one reason why I find this rulebook rather compelling. It doesn't have 10 different stat pools, only 3. That you can spend to increase your chances of success. This is called using effort. To more easily move the bowl in front of you, use left mouse click to spend might for a higher level of effort. Don't worry if you fail this task. In Torment, failure often results in interesting outcomes. That's true. It can be rather interesting. So I can choose. I have 5 points in might, and I can go with. Well, let's go here. Success. You carefully take a hold of the bowl, avoiding the teeth on the serrated rim. With a deep breath, you move it over to the glowing pool of fallen light. Drop by drop, the bowl fills, ripples spreading over the blurred outline of your reflection. A pale blue luminescence stretches out into the corners of the room. A clear radiance spills across the segmented floor, washing away the nearest shadows and pouring into the mind, melting the ragged edges of your fragmented thoughts. You are not whole, not yet, but you have begun to heal from the damage done in your long fall. A voice calls out from somewhere high above, beyond the reaches of the spreading light. Some of you might ask why this is here. There can be an explanation to it, and there can be not. There is one simple one, though. Hello? You still alive out there, down there? We're up here. Build up a something? Sorry, I wasn't quick enough. Okay, I can zoom. So there is one explanation why this is here. The explanation is this is the 9th world. For everyone who doesn't know what that is, the 9th world is the 9th version of Earth. It's millions of years in the future, and there has been 8 civilizations falling and rising and rising and falling before this one. This is the 9th civilization. So the Earth, the continents have shifted. It's million years into the future. It's you can't find it. So anything you see could be part of the current civilization, or it could also be part of a civilization that has come before that. So there will be aliens, there will be humans. One of the dominant races of one of the 9 worlds before, or 8 worlds before, it's said that it wasn't human. There is one civilization, the dominant race was not human, but now they're back. Why are humans back? So that's one open thing in Numenera. Another one is, I think the moon doesn't turn around anymore or something. The days have gotten longer. There is a month less, and there is also a planet less. Something like that. So there are differences, but this is Earth. As soon as you touch the orb, a memory floods your mind. You stand in front of a rusted door. The air is humid and dark. You have had moments respite from this water-logged hell, a bubble of stale air your resting point. You've breathed water before, and you have lived decades beneath the waves, but this body is an air breather, and the constant pressure has been crushing you ever so subtly. Worse, your companion's mind seems to be wandering from the task at hand. He's a genius with machines, as you well know, but now he seems distracted. The device in his hands is covered in knobs, wires, and antennas. He believes it can get the two of you through the corroded door, but he is merely staring at it. Perhaps he has lost faith in his invention, but that is hardly your concern. This mission cannot be delayed. It must proceed. Deceive him by telling him that you have heard sounds of pursuit. I'm gonna deceive him. Your words echo clearly, and he looks up, surprised as you cut through his indecisive daze. He grimaces and says, "All right. We'll be through the door before they catch up." His fingers make minute adjustments to the knobs and blinking levers of the device, and the stale air of your bubble, freshens as the door swings open. A dark hallway lies beyond, a passage that links the water-bordered cells and the aquatic viewing areas. What you seek lies there. Moments later, you're underwater again, your hands closing around a strange yet familiar artifact. You need it to complete something. It hovers above a pedestal, rotating in the dark water. An electric current runs through your fingers as your hand crosses the vertical plane of the pedestal. And an iridescent field coalesces so fast that the wave of pressure dazes you for a moment. Wow, there have been 4 words that I didn't understand in there. Like, pedestal and iridescent coalesces. The rising pulse of a sonar alarm ripples through the water. If you're wondering what that is, if you want me to look up the words, those hard words, pedestal and iridescent and coalescence, I'm not sure whether or not you're English native speakers. I offer you to read it out loud and Google it while I play this. Just leave me a comment, just let me know. The guards won't be far behind. I'm not sure. We disable the sonar poles. No, I use a cipher to stop them. You run urgent fingers over the devices fastened to your waist, a fog rising in your mind. A few can be used against the guards, but will also turn your skin to synth steel or the surrounding water to boiling wax. Hardly ideal. Finally, you find a smaller silver sphere. Setting the sphere in place, you kick desperately for the safety of a nearby alcove. What's an alcove? I'm not sure. Anyway, a cipher is a device that has a one-time use. It can be a grenade, it can be some form of technology from one of the 8 worlds before that we haven't invented yet. It could just as simple being as a deodorant spray. The sphere whirls and unfolds into a spiraling vortex. The sphere at its center speaks a few polite words in an ancient language, then begins draining the surrounding water into itself with an alarming speed. The approaching guards shout, then scream as they, too, are sucked into the whirlpool and ripped to pieces. You allow yourself a fleeting smile, but are all too aware that more alarms are going off in the distance. The memory begins to fade as if you were being drawn backward through a tunnel, and you hear more pylons rising from the pit. Something is wrong. The events within the orb have settled into that gap in your mind, but the edges of it are rough, and as though the memory itself is not truly yours. There's something else. A gust of sour air pulling at you, like a predator inhaling the scent of its prey at the far end of a dark, whispering field. That's good to know that they put out some form of stairs. You stand beside a woman on a verdant crack. Beneath the two of you is a broad plateau towering above the overgrowth far below. Strange machines have been built into the cliffside, presumably for reconnaissance or defense. A metallic disc gleams from the center of the plateau. Your self-aware humanoid machines drill into the base of the cliffs below. If you were looking for a sanctuary, and you were desperately, this seems like the right place. I don't know about this, the woman says, her voice flat, neutral. Her face is turned away from you. What makes this place any more secure than the other ones we've found? So, I draw her attention to the hidden details that my more experienced eye can clearly see. You shade your eyes against the bright sun so that you can point out the thin bands radiating out from the metallic disc. How the energy from those bands affects the local fauna, suggesting an enormous source of prior world energy. She thinks deeply. It's geologically sound? Have you run the sounding samples and checked the strata? No major events, caverns or weaknesses showed up on your resonance scans? She waits for your affirmation and says, "All right, I'm convinced." The two of you sketch your plans for the sanctuary, drawing schematics and agricultural diagrams. Then you descend onto the plateau to examine the open ground. The woman suggests having one of the servitors build a shelter for your time here. You try to draw one of the constructs away from its task, but it doesn't respond to your voice. When you lay a hand on its shoulder to reinforce your command, it whirls and strikes you across the face with an inhuman speed. It turns back to its task, ignoring you. Your companion helps you rise, laughter in her eyes. It seems your construct has other ideas. What's the matter with it? Oh yeah, there's Numenera. Numenera is something... That's why this world is called. Numenera is something you can't explain. Numenera is something mystical. It can be technology, it can be magic, it can be something else. Numenera is a word for anything that can't be described, I think. But I might be wrong. I don't have the book in hand. If you have any questions, again, I offer this run with a lot of background information if you want so. So just leave a comment if you have any questions. I could use the Numenera integrated into the construct's body to overwhelm the behavior malfunction. I can examine the construct for mechanical faults or look for a deeper solution. Perhaps as an effect of the metallic disc itself. I would check for a deeper solution. A mist falls onto the plateau as you wrap a fiber shielding mesh around the construct's skull. The mesh powers up, protecting the construct's mind from any transdimensional emissions that might be in the area. Taking a deep breath, you repeat your command. Acknowledged. It obediently trundles to the side of your new shelter. The image freezes, then fades, and you feel the memory filling the gap in your mind. Block by jagged block. You stagger, clutching your head, reclaiming your memories hurts. And once more, there's something else. Hairs lift one by one on the back of your neck. Something beyond this room can sense what you're doing, and is haunting you. Okay. We'll finish this room at least in the first episode. I think I've said a couple things towards it, but I will summarize in the end. A vision of a city springs up around you, your city, in flames and under attack. Her defenders have fought and died all day, and still the attackers keep coming. They fight as if your destruction were demanded of them. They care nothing for mercy, surrender or plunder. What they want is blood. If you have brought a keen-eyed companion to the top of the tower, she has seen the way to stop the invaders. You need to get her to safety, and you'll need to rally your defenders. But even as you turn toward the door of the tower, two of the attackers descend from a hovering machine. You don't have time to strike at them before they land. One is brutishly large, his weapon a vibrating axe. The other is slim, sheathed in glassy armor, and holding a hilt with a sizzling, invisible blade. Your companion backs away. She's too young to help. Your enemies advance single file, confined by the parapet. What is all that? There's so many words that I don't understand. The parapet? What is that? Anyway. I can trade blows with the giant. I can duck under the giant, swing and attack before he can strike, or fight defensively. And figure out who presents the greater threat, which I find more intelligent. This is what I'll do. The memory seems crystal clear. The giant is menacing, it's true, but the invisible blade of his companion is more worrisome still. The energy field that flickers and wavers around it suggests that she can carve matter at the molecular level, tearing pieces of her target into nothingness. If you're to save yourself, your best bet is to tackle her first. She's stuck behind the giant, waiting her turn to attack you, unable to bring her weapon to bear until he's out of the way. But it's clear that she expects him to handle you, and her eyes rove behind you, her focus on your ward. She's certainly not expecting you to dive between the giant's legs and come up inside her guard. She can't bring her blade to bear in time, and you drive your dagger up under her chin. You catch her before her deadly blade drops onto you and spin her around. The weapon slashes into the giant, and he, topless, bisected. The immediate threat ended. You focus on finding a way back to your allies. You open the tower door and rush down the stairs. The door at the base of the stairs is slightly cracked, opening just a bit into the hall, and you hear more of the enemy soldiers beyond. I can hurl myself against the door and knock them to the ground. I can crack the door open to sneak past them, or I can charge through them, counting on your defenses to protect you. I would crack the door open to sneak past them. You press yourself against the gleaming door, easing it to open, and your breath catches in your throat as it squeaks quietly. The sound like a bell in your memory. You pause, but the soldiers in the hall continue to talk. You push again, squeeze yourself through the narrow opening, and creep down the bloodstained hall. The memory begins to fade, and you find yourself back in your own body. Your temples throb with the racing force of your heartbeat, and the reclaimed memories blaze within you like a bonfire on a mountain peak, visible to every predator for kilometers around. A tremor rocks the floor beneath you, as though a massive fist has struck the room itself. Swaying on your feet, you see frantic movement within the borders of a mirror at the edge of the room. I want to examine the light around the door frame dims and flares like the wind. No sign or symbol tells you what might be behind this enormous door. A dull chill radiates from its bronze segmented surface, and the thick metal wheel seems frozen into place. Countless scratches and wounds mar the surface of this door. Someone made a great effort to get inside, to no avail. Let's go out. The border of this mirror is lavishly decorated with a dizzying number of interlocked symbols. Daggers, masks, paintbrushes, amulets, and more. But that's nothing compared to what you see in the glass. You see a vast crowd of people, exact doppelgangers of you, shoving, arguing with, and fighting with each other. Most are drab imitations of you, but a precious few are vivid and pull at your attention. Each of them bears an intricate pentagonal tattoo on their head. In their eyes, their actions, you see the memories you discovered within the orbs and the choices you made, shining like distant stars. Your hand twitches at your side, and though some of the bright doppelgangers ignore you, an even smaller number immediately turn to you, waiting for you to choose them and learn what you might become. A rumble shakes the room, and slow vibration spreads from the darkness below, rippling towards the ceiling. So I can point towards a doppelganger. One, let's see, who are there? One moving cautiously through the crowd, one with clever eyes, one with a mystical symbol on its brow, one observing all the others, and one moving stealthily through the crowd. Cautiously and stealthily, clever eyes, mystical symbol on its brow, observing all the others. I go with observing all the others because patience. Sidling around the edge of the unruly crowd, the doppelganger cautions you to silence with a finger at its lips. Together you scan the room and its inhabitants, noting every potential hazard and hearing every drip of strange liquid in the depths beneath your feet. Quietly, the doppelganger waits for your decision. I want to consider the other choices. I want to point at the doppelganger with the mystical symbol on its brow. The doppelganger shoulders its way through the crowd, casually donning an 8-fingered glove. Then, it digs its fingers into the glass between you. With a grunt, it tears a hole in the surface shaped like a pointed deer. Carefully, the doppelganger speaks an unfamiliar word into the ear, and the ground itself seems to turn as if you're standing inside the door the doppelganger has just opened. When you look around, the hole has disappeared and nothing has changed, or has it? I like that one, actually. It's more magical, but... Yes, that... Yeah, that's who I am. The remaining doppelgangers scatter for the edges of the mirror and vanish. Your chosen identity steps forward. Its appearance changes as it steps out of the rippling glass. Its face reflects confidence and cleverness. Shadows of weapons flicker in and out of its hand, and a few devices shimmer on its belt. You get the feeling you would be comfortable in a variety of situations. The word Jack sounds in your mind. So Jack, here's something that I need to explain. This is based on a rulebook, on a pen and paper rulebook, and usually like Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons and Shadowrun, you have tons of classes to choose from. Not in Numenera. Here you have only 3 classes. And one is the Jack, like the Jack of all trades. There is the... Damn it, I forgot them. But Jack of all trades is basically the class that they're gonna give me. I gained a descriptor mystical, which is also interesting. But we can probably read about that. Yeah, I would like to conclude this episode here, because it has been 35 minutes. I want to summarize some things. First of all, I would like to play this game as I just did. I want to give you a little thing of a bedtime story. I want to offer you background information on the Numenera world. If you have any questions, feel free to post them and in the description, not in the description, post a comment, ask me, give me something to look up. I offer you to read some passages out, no problem. And yeah, I'll also offer you to improve your English by looking up some of the very, very difficult words. That is me for episode 1. And I hope you liked the episode. I want to offer you a little bit more than maybe someone else does. Yes, of course. And yeah, feel free to share, feel free to comment, press a like, show me that you're interested in the series. I would love to continue this game because I really like the world. It's very fantastic and I'm very curious because anything in this world springs out of someone's mind from the developers. So someone in there had this image of these pylons in this room going up and down and building this room. So every scene is very much a active fantasy of a person in itself, which I find very compelling. So I'm very curious what kind of ideas and things came out. And I'm very, very sure, because the land that has been described in the beginning when the main character was falling, I'm very, very sure the description fits to the continent of Numenera, of the world of Numenera. So I'm very confident that we will actually visit a couple cities within this game that are actually also described in the book. So I'm very curious to see that. So thanks for watching. If you come this far, please leave a like, subscribe, and let me know if you want to see more. My name has been Silphalon, and I wish you a very good night. Goodbye.